What's up, YouTube? So, in this video, we're going to be looking at some film from the Super Bowl 55, and pretty much going to be using it to prove my point about Tua a little bit, right? People have been way too overcritical of Tua in his rookie season. His rookie season wasn't actually terrible, for one. It wasn't amazing. He definitely has things to work on, for sure. You won't get argument out of me there. He needs to be a little bit less conservative, and he could improve on his pre-snap reads. Absolutely. But what young quarterback, especially a rookie, doesn't have things to improve on? I don't care if you're Tom Brady. Tom Brady has things he could improve on. The reason he has been successful so long is because he always finds things to improve on to continue to make himself better. So we got to give Tua the opportunity to do that. And also, our offensive line is terrible, and our receivers don't create separation. The Chiefs couldn't do either of those things in this Super Bowl. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that Patrick Mahomes is ass, and that the Chiefs should move on from Patrick Mahomes and go get a quarterback, oh, man, y'all are, I'm not even going to apologize. Y'all are stupid. Straight up. Y'all are stupid. Alright, let's go. Let's take a little look at some of this. This little screen. But again, that actually plays into it too. We were having to do screens all the time because our offensive line is bad. Like, that's why our play call couldn't be... Our play call was a mix of like screens and stuff, and then having to get desperate with trick plays because our offensive line was bad. And you were seeing that a lot with Kansas City last night. Like, look at this, right? Let's look at the receivers a little bit. No separation from any of them. None. This is just a bad blocking scheme, but... like, what are you supposed to do? Pat did the best thing possible. Just throw that ball away. Shout out to Pat for being able to scramble. And Tua does these things too. He's not quite as athletic as Pat. And don't get it twisted. I am not saying that Tua is as good as Pat Mahomes. I am not saying that. I'm simply showing you the film and saying these things matter. Whether or not Tua has a good offensive line matters. Whether or not he has receivers that can create space matters. And yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick had a little bit more success, but that's because he doesn't give a shit where the ball goes. He doesn't give a shit if he throws interceptions. He's proven that his whole career. He just throws it up and hopes someone comes down with it. Sorry, Tua doesn't like throwing interceptions. Is he being over-conservative? Yes. Not Pat, but Tua. Let's give him an opportunity to improve. No separation. It isn't until Pat started to scramble that Sammy Watkins eventually came free. And even then, he's got to get over the line. Like, come on, man. And this offensive line is bad because of injury. They're missing their starting center because, he opted out for COVID, and they're missing both their starting tackles. Our starting offensive line is bad. They're not like this, but just about. And also, y'all don't hate Myles Gaskin or Ahmed, and neither do I. Don't get it twisted. I love them both. But they couldn't do anything consistently either. Why? Because the offensive line was bad. They weren't creating space. But that's a valid excuse for them, but not Tua. It doesn't make any sense. That's how the O-line held up, but again, no separation. You need route runners. And also, to be fair, Kansas City's play call was super uninspiring in this Super Bowl. And that's also something that we dealt with a lot last year. Chan Gailey's play call was... I mean, it wasn't even necessarily creative. It was more so desperate because our offensive line was just struggling so much. That's why we did so many trick plays and stuff. But as far as him being able to adapt to things and put Tua in a situation where he's doing things he's good at, like, think back to last year, right? With Tua, what were the situations that he did well in? If you went and looked back at it, Tua was at his best when we went up tempo, when we were running the no huddle offense, stuff like that. But they didn't let Tua do it often. So that's another factor. And they didn't start throwing in like more pistol stuff until the end of the season. Again, they waited until the whole season was just about over before they really started implementing plays that Tua liked. And see, you're when you're being pressured, it throws off your accuracy. Who would have thought? I mean, we're not going to watch every offensive snap because that's not the point of this video. We will go to some of the fourth quarter. Yeah, let's go to the fourth because that's where things really started getting rough. Did you just not go to the fourth? Oh, okay, it did. Okay, cool. And they're not really throwing any crazy blitzes or anything like that. But, like, look at this. Like, I know you're not going to say that Pat Mahomes is ass. And you'd be right, because he's not. But neither is Tua. I shouldn't even have to do videos like this. Now, I do realize that a lot of people on my channel aren't like this, don't have this mentality. There may be some people that would prefer Deshaun Watson, and that's a debate that can be made. I disagree, but I can see where you're coming from there. But to just say that Tua is ass is crazy, because he's not. All right. All right, they're going forward on fourth, and of course, in this situation, they have no choice. But I'm gonna refresh this. It's kind of glitching out on me. What the fuck? Game Pass? Okay. Going empty. And look at this, right? Their offensive line was struggling so bad that they really stopped blitzing them. They were just rushing forward most of the time, and they were still getting pressure. But again, when Pat actually did have some time, he's able to survey the field and make a decent play. And when you look back at the things that Tua did, I mean, that's the case for the most part. He did miss some things, for sure. I mean, I did full videos every game this year, breaking down the offense, whether it had been Ryan Fitzpatrick or Tua. And you know what? Pat is human too. Look, he's being pressured. Doesn't see this running back. It happens. When the whole pocket's collapsing. You can't succeed like that. By the way, I think the Chiefs will be probably back next year. I mean, if not back in the Super Bowl, then at least back in contending for him. They're still a fantastic team. Just the offensive line really struggled. And look, what just happened here? This backup left tackle missing with his hands. Tell me that doesn't look like Austin Jackson. Again, and Austin Jackson's a rookie too. He deserves some time to improve as well. But Austin Jackson missed with his hands all season. You know? I seen something there. That's actually not that terrible from the left guard here. He's up against Vita Vea, which is one of the more powerful people in the league. But the way he gives up ground kind of slowly here, it would have been better if he would have popped his feet. That probably would have given him a little bit more success. And he wouldn't have been pushed back into Pat Mahomes' lap as much, but still. All right, let's see what happened there with Jason Pierre-Paul. Same left tackle. And I realized this is a backup, but our starter was doing these things. He's leaning. Look how far he's leaning. If Jason would have pulled some cloth there, he would have been on his face. And does that play look familiar? Just quick plays to throw to the running back to just get rid of the ball quickly. That was the bulk of our offense. It's been the bulk of our offense for a couple of seasons now because we haven't had a line in a long time. Tell you what, I'm only 23. And I can't think of a time where I've been really confident in our offensive line. I got some older Dolphins fans around here. Let me know if you've ever been confident in the Dolphins' offensive line. Or even if you're a fan of other teams, but you've been around a long enough time to have seen the older Dolphins teams. When was the last time they had a great offensive line? Because Marino didn't really have one, from what I understand. I mean, obviously I'm too young to have really even watched Marino. Live, anyway. But and we don't necessarily need to have, the Great Wall of Dallas. We just need them to not die. Dude, what is up with Game Pass, man? Not wanting to go to the next play. Yeah, it's the same play. But see what Pat is doing, though. Like, the offensive line is collapsing, and he's having to scramble around and pretty much play Superman out there. And it's unrealistic to ask Tua to do shit like this. It's unrealistic to really even ask Pat to have to do it. Tua's not. Because I'm not saying that Tua is, like, this amazing, perfect quarterback. All I'm saying is he's a rookie who didn't have an O-line, had a subpar offensive coordinator, receivers can't create space, and, again, he is a rookie. Like, it's just so stupid to me. Look at this. He's just having to get desperate. Look at the left tackle getting his hand swiped. Tell me that doesn't look like Austin Jackson. Just is what it is. And yeah, that's their backups, but that's what our starters look like. Yeah. I think I pretty much made my point with this. I don't really need to sit here and watch every play. But, I mean, I assume that most of y'all watched the Super Bowl. I mean, if you're on my channel and you're a fan of football, you probably watched the Super Bowl. Even if not live, you've probably found a way to watch it somewhere. After the fact or whatever. But that... I just hope that seeing this puts a little bit of perspective on you. Like, I know that the media likes to hype up the quarterback, and yes, quarterback is the most important position on the field. But this is a game with a 55-man roster. It used to be 53. It's 55 now. With practice squad, a full coaching staff, GM, scouts, owner, fans, everything. It all plays a factor. To just say that Tua is ass after not even a full rookie season, right? Like, he came in, like, not quite half, but almost halfway through the season. There was no preseason, no real training camp, and he was coming off the same injury that ended Bo Jackson's career. Like, come on, man. You can't be this naive to just look at what he did and just say, oh, Tua's ass. And he didn't even play that bad. Like I've said, the strength of our team last year was the defense. And our offense was ass. We had no consistency in the run game. Our receivers couldn't create separations. Our offensive line couldn't block. What are you supposed to do with that? And then you have a top 5 defense in almost every category. What is the best opportunity to win those games? You don't turn the ball over and don't put your defense in bad positions by getting turnovers. That's the best thing you can do. It's just not sabotage the best part of your team. So that's what he did. Now, is he perfect? Absolutely not. Like I said, he was over-conservative. He took it to too much of an extreme. He does need to pull the trigger a little more. I agree. And definitely the pre-snap reads are things he needs to work on, particularly on his right side. I know he's left-handed, but a lot of times he does miss some things on the right side of the field. So those are definitely things he needs to work on. But for the people that just say he's ass, that's just crazy to me. And like I said, if you're just someone who wants Deshaun Watson instead, because he's had tangible success in the league and he's only 25, I feel you. That is at least a legitimate argument to make. I understand that, but I would argue, like, Deshaun Watson has had DeAndre Hopkins, right? Debatably. Well, not to me, not even really debatably. I think he is the best receiver in the game right now. And he couldn't get it done. And a lot of you guys are going to say, well, he had a terrible offensive line too. And you're right. You're right. And they only got to the playoffs. They couldn't get any further than that. I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to just make the playoffs. I'm trying to win the damn Super Bowl. And to get Deshaun Watson, you're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks. And I'm not trying to do that. I want to build the house. I want to build the house around Tua and completely build up this offense and just get it as good as we can. And then in a year or two, if Tua doesn't work out, then we'll already have the house built for a different quarterback we can go get. And then we can just plug him in and be fine. I mean, if you were around my channel last year, I didn't even agree with us drafting Tua. I didn't. If you were here last year, you would know I didn't like our draft class. I still don't. I mean, there's a few players I liked, and a lot of them succeeded. Raekwon Davis I liked. I liked Solomon Kinley. I actually liked Snowden. even though he didn't get that much playing time this year. But I do think he's a solid player. But it wasn't even necessarily about Tua. I just didn't want to draft quarterback last year, period. It didn't matter who it was, whether it would have been Herbert, Burrow, or Tua. It didn't matter. I didn't want to draft a quarterback. I wanted to start Ryan Fitzpatrick this year. And build the house around Ryan and then take our quarterback in 2021. That's what I wanted to do. But Tua's here now. Like it or not, he's got a 5-year contract. He's our guy. Let's build around him. Because we don't want to be like the Cleveland Browns were for so long. Just the second the quarterback doesn't take off immediately, we trade him. Like, look at Buffalo, right? They were so close to getting to the Super Bowl this year. Josh Allen did not look like a good quarterback in his rookie year at all. I think most people would agree with that. Big arm, of course, and he does have a bigger arm, and he is more athletic than Tua Tagovailoa, obviously. But his decision making and his accuracy was terrible. Did the Bills give up on him? No. He had no receivers that could create space. His offensive line was average. It's not as bad as ours, or it wasn't. But they didn't give up on him. They got him a number 1 receiver. They went and got Cole Beasley as well. They got him, a quarterback coach to work with and improve his mechanics, improve his decision making, and really continue to develop him. And look at what he did this year. Like, the difference was astounding. They improved the offensive line. They got him a running back core. They got him some receivers. And they built the house the right way. And now Buffalo is in a position where they can continue to improve and be a household name for the next, who knows how many years this can go. Because they built it the right way. Kansas, and even Kansas City, I know they just lost. But this didn't just happen overnight. When Andy Reid got to Kansas City and traded for Alex Smith to get him away from the Niners, they made the playoffs. Sure, they definitely improved immediately. And I also think that, we're better off with Brian Flores for sure than we were with Gase or even Philbin, Sperano, any of them. But they weren't real Super Bowl contenders for a little bit. Why? They had people like Dwayne Bowe at receiver, who had some good years at first. Jamal Charles, who was aging and couldn't stay healthy. And then they had just a bunch of random-ass guys at receiver. Including Dexter McCluster, who actually went to my high school. He's a pretty cool dude. I like him a lot, but he wasn't that great of a receiver. He was a good return man. But most of the receivers were just kind of whoever. But then they just continued to build. And then they drafted Pat Mahomes. And then they didn't start him right away. They let him sit under Alex Smith and develop. And now, pretty much since Pat Mahomes has taken over, they've been a contender every single year. They built it the right way. We have to continue to do the same thing. If we just give up on Tua, it'd be a mistake. It would be a huge mistake to just give up on him. Like I said, I want to build the house. I want to get him some good receivers. I want to get him some offensive linemen. And then in a year, maybe 2, if Tua is ass, then it is what it is. We'll move on. But right now, he's not ass. He's accurate as hell. I wouldn't say he has elite arm strength, but his arm strength is solid enough. He's a smart kid. He's not going to turn the ball over a ton. He just needs to work on some things. Anticipation, pre-snap. And, become a little bit, knowing when to become aggressive. And when to be conservative, because there's times for both. But Anyway, I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on it. I know it got kind of ranty toward the end, but it needed to be addressed. I'm just sick of the Tua talk, and honestly, I'm sick of this happening to young quarterbacks in general, young talented quarterbacks and players in general, where their team just moves on from them for no reason early. And I'm not talking about the cases where they get in trouble off the field or anything like that. That's completely different. Or if they have like a career-ending injury, that's completely different. But have a little bit of patience, man. I understand a lot of you guys have been fans for a lot longer than me, and you guys have seen the Dolphins suck for a lot longer. I empathize, but we got to build the right way, because I don't want to just make the playoffs. I don't even want to just win a Super Bowl. I want to win multiple Super Bowls. I want to build a dynasty like New England built. I want to be a team that's going to contend every year. And that only happens if we continue to build the right way. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, appreciate you hitting that like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.